worked for them in game 1. I don't think you need to change. And for eStar, I think it leaves you in a weird position where your last rotation were still the best champions you can opt in towards. So I fully expect them to go a similar route. They're going to change it up a little bit and go with the Lillia, though.
Okay. A bit more team fight to help out a little bit more. I'm curious to see how that's going to work for them as compared to the Udyr. And you mentioned before that Udyr, with some minor nerfs, is not quite as high priority as he once was, but he's still pretty strong, and I feel like Lillia is just a bit better when it comes to what eStar were lacking in last game.
Yeah, but now we're looking towards what LGD are going to do. The Azir is still open. We know that's been one of the primetime picks. It did get a bit of a nerf, but I don't think enough of a nerf to where it really matters in terms of competitive play. It's been one of Uniboy's most played, and when you think about, you know, the Orianna's gone, the Zoe's gone, the Twisted Fate's gone, there's not too many mid lane picks that I think have been really strong A or S tier in this meta.
Well, rell getting picked up by chance and answered by that Galio again for ShiauC into the bot lane. And we had seen last time that rell was ignored and having the counter pick for that bot lane for ShiauC instead. This time around, they're like, all right, why don't we focus instead on these solo lanes and try to see if that's what went wrong and be able to help out the top side of the map a little bit more.
I actually wouldn't be surprised if eStar are going to put this into the mid lane. Of course, it's still a flex, so they get to decide, but maybe as LGD here, ban out something like the Nautilus or any other champions that are annoying and can disrupt rell's crash down from a range. I don't think the Galio matchup is all that annoying, and we see LGD agree, and that's what they're going to opt into.
That's it. Azir Victor being banned away by eStar. Azir, as you mentioned, pretty strong still, and taking that away from Uniboy, since we haven't really seen Irma play it too much, I'm curious to see if they're going to try to get the counter pick on the top side of the map, or if they're expecting to see if it's going to be, you know, trying to hold on to that Galio as a flex and keep that as a opportunity for themselves.
I think if I was eStar here, you just pick support. Sure, the Galio is technically a flex, and they ban the Renekton, so they're trying to bait out the Gnar pick from eStar, saying, hey, we're going to pick that one up ourselves. But I think here, you can just go to Nautilus, as we talked about. It's another engaged champion, works quite well, and you could just save last pick, but instead, they're going to keep Galio in the bot lane and pick up this mid lane Nocturne and go towards a composition that is very similar to what we saw FPX run.
I was about to say, this is an FPX comp, right? This is what they normally do with the Galio and Nocturne combination to be able to dive into the back line, but it has kept ZS as that counter. They're going to be able to have a much better topside matchup if they are able to find something that can possibly counter that Gnar there. I was expecting Gnar to be the pickup here, as Syndra got taken for Uniboy, not having that ability to be able to bounce back to Orianna.
I think if LGD goes Gnar here, which they should, as ZS, you have two options. I think you either pull out the Jace or you bring out the Camille. The thing that I like about the Camille is it combos well with the Galio, but we instantly get the Irelia. This is a lane counter for the Gnar, but I definitely think the lockdown that Camille brings would work really well with your Galio, as well as the Nocturne all being able to jump in as a cohesive unit. This Irelia is going to take way more, I'd say, finesse to be able to match those timings of getting in the lane. The thing about eStar's comp, though, is the side laning is insane. ZS will be in a side lane, Irma can be in a side lane. You can always have like a 3 or 4 man hit squad answering on either side of the map.
But Laird, doesn't this kind of remind you a bit of last draft, where it seemed like there's a bit of a lack of cohesion with the team composition?
I actually think the team comp is very cohesive this time. The thing, though, is this team comp, I think, is going to be really hard to execute. We need to see Irelia get ahead. We need to see Nocturne get ahead. And then we need to see them playing around side lanes well, which has obviously been much harder ever since we've been fighting over souls, which have pretty much dominated the meta. And they just take more coordination overall in terms of like when and how you're pushing your waves and how you're moving as a team. I don't know if eStar have shown that level of coordination.
Going up against LGD, a team that works well around their coordination as a unit. When they're all able to gather together, especially when you look at how the top side of the map has been able to play. Colt, Quay, Uniboy clearly really able to work well with one another and have a great line of communication to keep everything going so solidly for them.
And the thing about LGD is their comp, again, is just so straightforward. They obviously want a 5v5. They do have more fragile lane matchups. We know the Gnar should lose, and if he falls behind, will be out of the game. Same with Uniboy's matchup, though I think he should be able to find an early advantage. If Nocturne starts snowballing on him, Nocturne's an assassin. He's going to be able to continuously find those kills over and over again. So we're really looking at LGD solo laners.
It's always so funny to see Nocturne mid. Oh. Nice. There we go. We got the cheers in there. Like I was saying, seeing Nocturne mid, I like seeing it mid, but it's one of those picks that I always just find so funny.
It is definitely more interesting to watch. Again, it has surprisingly decent wave clear and ability to just kind of push and move from your passive and then just being able to spam your Q. But at the same time, even with all the nerfs we've seen, Syndra is still very much a lane bully in these kinds of matchups. It's going to be all about whether he can hit those Qs or not, and whether Irma is able to spell shield that Scatter the Weak. Another thing that I think has hurt Syndra a lot in recent meta is the Verdant Barrier being added, which obviously isn't an item that he has to worry about Irma building. So I feel like this game gives Uniboy more room to work with, even despite Syndra being a weaker pick recently.
Right now, getting a lot of help on the bottom half as Hacker, not really needing it. Lillia going to be easily able to clear out the chickens by herself, so this top side pressure, and already getting, you can see the pings coming in from LGD, knowing where would want to start. But I like that ward placed down by eStar to be able to counter the knowledge they are going to have on where Lillia starts to say, hey, we know where Quay is.
And the thing I'm really interested in with these jungle clears is the fact that Hacker is going towards the bottom side. So I wonder, after getting red, he's going to look for some kind of gank top, but ZS is hard pushing in his wave. So what this signals to me, actually, is that ZS is going to try and get the crash. So then when Hacker hits level 4 and is making his way back up topside, they can combo and chain a gank at that time.
Good. It would be a good idea as well. You talked about getting Colt behind, getting this Gnar to never be a champion in this game. Essentially a 4v5, because what can he do if he's constantly falling behind an Irelia especially?
That is true, and you know, Irelia's build does give her a bit more early aggression, because we still typically do a lot of the time see that Blade of the Rune King coming out first. Going to be very good in that isolated 1v1. Then it'll be a question of whether he does go for that standard Triforce, though a lot of Irelias have gone towards the Immortal Shield Bow as well for more dueling potential with that sustain. Honestly, just overall excited to see where eStars and ZS go with these builds.
But until then, just going to be lane kind of frozen for Colt right outside of that turret range. This Hacker is towards the bottom half of the map, doing how you wanted, where he's probably going to be able to get this crab. Might go for a recall to immediately try to make a play topside, since they know exactly where Quay is. Irma had pushed out the minion wave mid lane to be able to put that ward on blue buff of Quay.
The thing that is kind of perplexing to me is the fact that, you know, ZS wasn't able to get the crash into topside. So his lane is in a very awkward position if Quay had by chance just walked up top to look for a gank. He didn't do that, though, and now Hacker has made his way back up, so it feels like they've dodged a bullet a little bit. But I like that we see LGD all landing on mid lane, where we highlighted that Uniboy can find a nice advantage.
Colt takes a bad trade a little too far into ZS. Going to be able to get the hop out of there to be able to stay a bit safe, but in the meanwhile, the lanes all across the map are going so well for eStar that they can easily go for this play mid lane and punish Uniboy getting first blood for Rat.
Really tragic as well. We saw that LGD were playing up. Colt!
Whoa, baby, let's go. ZS solo killed topside.
And it all started from that play that you were highlighting before, where, you know, ZS was hiding in the brush. I was thinking he was probably feigning his recall. So Colt just going to check. ZS gets on top of him. Obviously, you close the distance with Colt walking into you. You're able to find the all-in. You stack up Conqueror much faster. And now we're going to see the latter half of that play. Colt is the one with the built-up wave. Is still respecting quite nicely. Ooh, just really nice E to land in. Gets the Q. Follows up with the second charge as well. And very... like, ZS made it look very easy. And he already has a Vampiric Scepter making his way towards that Blade of the Rune King.
Hey, and the one thing I said with eStar is if they can get ahead a bit earlier and a bit larger, they might be able to beat LGD before they're able to ever group up. And it looks like they're doing exactly as I asked. They have already gotten themselves about 1,000 gold ahead, and it's only 5 minutes with 2 kills on the board.
And the nice thing is they're impacting the 2 volatile matchups. The 2 matchups that, especially mid lane, because, I mean, top for Gnar should just be a straight up loss. but he is holding even in CS. But especially this mid lane, if Syndra is set behind, if Nocturne can get ahead, he will just continuously be able to get onto Uniboy and take him out of team fights. Sure, Kramer might be able to get away with his ultimate, maybe Chance can zone for him. Colt's gonna be too tanky. As ShiauC goes in.
Getting the flash out of Chance. Rell's not going to be able to land, so no slow. Instead, they have to back out. They got to be careful, though. Rat took a lot of damage from Kramer.
Yeah, Kramer playing really well on the return half of that, and the wave's going to push into him as well, so he's going to be able to try and bully out Rat if they do walk too far forward, but Chance looking for a recall after getting punished. Doesn't seem like Kramer's going to have those opportunities that I just talked about. And now it seems like teams are going to be fighting over that top side prio. I like that Quay's already stung away some jungle camps.
Ooh, flash in from Uniboy. Unleash power. First kill for LGD.
Just absolutely insane. Nice job knowing that was coming. Flashes over. Just so decisive with the play. Hacker's still very squishy. Colt had push up in the top side at that moment. He's able to just funnel around the other side of the jungle. And now Quay's also going to pick up the Scuttle Crab. And we need to remember, on 11.4, that, jungle got nerfed. The one thing that didn't get nerfed was Scuttle Crab. So, relative to the rest of the jungle, like, getting this EXP is just insane.
It's what LGD needs to be able to do to keep themselves relevant against eStar. Not only getting that kill for Uniboy to make it to the Syndra, who wants to deny Irma that potential to rotate around with that guy you see right there. ShiauC, once he has that heroic entrance, the Nocturne Galio combination is going to be really volatile to be able to start off a lot of these fights. If Uniboy can deny Irma from ever being able to rotate, that's what LGD can do to be able to get into that mid game where they're going to be able to thrive.
And it looks like eStar setting up for a top lane dive. We already see Irma moving over. eStar have the damage. They have the ultimates available.
Colt is about to go mega, though. If he's able to time this right, he might be able to survive. Flashed away to try to see if he can survive. Looking lullaby coming in. Going to be able to get the sleep and kill for Hacker.
Love to see it. Again, they were patient with the play. His rage bar was about halfway there, but the fact that Hacker did have his ultimate, they should have the burst to lock it down. And the most impactful part of that play is we go back to a replay for some reason at a strange time. Flash Scout of the week into ultimate, but the most impactful part of this play is we see Colt is losing so many minions, so much gold, so much EXP. A 30 CS lead for ZS right now, has a 1-level lead. It's gonna have even more items, gonna be closer towards that Blade of the Rune King. And now Colt also has no flash if ZS finds the all-in.
And honestly, I'm expecting to see a repeat of that exact dive we just saw into the top side. Keep Colt behind. Get ZS in a position so they can set up that 1-3-1. They're going to have this Irelia constantly be a threat that even if they have to group up, if you have a TP flank for ZS after they set up the 1-3-1, they're going to be able to eviscerate the backline of LGD.
They are. It's going to be a tough situation for them. Also interesting to see that ZS backs and buys a pickaxe. Oh, I guess pickaxe does build in the Blade of the Rune King now.
Oh yeah, they changed all those.
We're
We're so used to how they used to be right now. But Colt, you don't own this lane. You gotta stay away from it, buddy. Even if you're able to go mega and throw him into the wall, you gotta be careful. Good call on the recall.
Yep, nice disengage from him. But like you're saying, Magical, I am stuck in the past. But, I've been around League of Legends for a long time, so I think it's fair. But, going back to what's important about this game, what's important is Hacker. Hacker's playing towards the top side, has vision down. It looked like he started up the Herald, deciding to back off with the fact that Quay just kind of showed in mid lane and that Uniboy was hovering towards the side as well. So, gonna get a bit of a pause on our action, but eStar still have a 2,000 gold lead.
They do, and I'm imagining most of that is onto ZS. And so, for LGD, they gotta somehow stop this guy. They gotta be able to control him, because all he's ever gonna do is look for these 1v1 plays onto Colt and get another solo kill onto him.
I mean, you're at the point where he's so far behind in the matchup, there really isn't anything he can do. If the wave is ever in a neutral position, he can't walk up. He has to wait for ZS to push it in. But we've seen that Hacker has been solely playing around topside, and Quay's only been on the opposite side of the map, which just allows for Hacker to hover and threaten dives regardless. So there's no right or wrong choice. Everything is wrong.
But isn't that what we expected out of eStar? That's what we wanted Hacker to do.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess for LGD, they need to be trying to win the bottom side matchup even harder, invest, 4-man dives and 4-man roams into that, because The straight up 2v2 isn't enough for them to just win out and start taking turret plates and get down that turret. They need to start investing resources, especially at this point in the game. Colt 0-3-0 behind 30 CS. This lane feels like it cannot be salvaged. They are sending Chance up to look for a gank right now. But realistically, even if you kill ZS, you're not getting Colt back into the game. You're just buying him more time and giving him more breathing room.
Unfortunately, it's just one of those double-edged swords. It's like, you don't do anything, and ZS keeps snowballing. You do something, and it isn't really actually helping out because now he can just kill Colt immediately afterwards. So with this engage onto ZS, they should be able to pick up this kill, and might even want to gift it over to Quay, but here's the heroic entrance trying to save his life. Gnar ult into the wall. He's still able to dodge away. The exhaust was able to pull him back with Magnet Storm to get the kill over to Quay, with ShiauC trying to escape, but he was blocked for the Justice Punch, and he's pushed back for a double kill out of Quay. Hacker just a bit too late.
You know, ZS might have died, but those were some clean movements, almost being able to get away. Colt does hop in, though, and gets the Gnar ultimate back towards his team. They did get 2 kills. This is definitely more beneficial. It's strange to me that ShiauC was able to read this play, but they didn't dedicate more members, like Hacker also hovering towards the top half of the map. But seriously, props over to LGD for, again, buying that breathing room. This doesn't put Colt back into the matchup where he can look for the 1v1, but still, he gets some gold and they get some items off this.
Yeah, the replay, it's just watching at how good ZS is with these mechanics, honestly.
Yeah. Misses the E, gets the Q, almost gets out of there, but the hop comes through, ults him back in. We see the Magnet Storm come out from Chance. And, you know, sadly, ShiauC doesn't have anywhere to go either, having just expended his own flash.
Yeah, it seemed like Hacker unfortunately had to recall and was trying to get into that top side, even trying to get Irma in a position. His Colt, again, even if you have a turret, you don't really have a turret, so he gets picked off pretty easily. Uniboy wants to get in position to be able to use Unleashed Power to try to pick up that kill, but unfortunately, ZS has Hacker to be able to defend him a little bit. Uniboy is reading this play pretty well. Goes for Unleashed Power, might be able to get the Scatter of the Week with the damage. One more auto is going to take down Hacker, defending the top laner at the risk of his own life.
Yeah, they do end up with the 1-for-1, but still, I think eStar are in a phenomenal position. That turret is almost down. ZS is going to love an extended lane so Colt can never walk up. I expect Colt will probably catch the wave at that inner turret and then continuously just try to group up and roam with his team. He cannot sit in that isolated lane anymore. Dragon's about to come up. We already see Colt TPing mid. Now the question is if LGD looks for this one. Uniboy does also have TP, but we know he has no ultimate anymore.
No, and it's going to be a while until that one can come up. The fact that you're getting Irma to be able to have his ult come up well before that of that Unleashed Power means that even if you had Uniboy being able to TP into the play, it doesn't seem like it's going to work out so well if eStar are quick on the draw.
And now we see that LGD are the team that have bot prio. They're controlling vision around the bottom side quadrants, but still, now that ZS is making his way over, eStar, I'm sorry, are actually the team that have mid push, so I expect them to be the ones starting up the Dragon right now.
But Rivalry Lyric, we had something similar last game, where eStar were the ones in position. We wanted them to pull the trigger, and it took them too long. Here, it does seem that they learned their lesson much quicker on making sure immediately to get the objective before LGD can group up to fight back.
And I think this is fine for LGD side, though, because we talked about how their composition is much more 5v5 oriented. They're fine just sitting back, scaling up. Since they got the first Dragon, they have a lot of time.
Ooh, flashed. Tried from a Uniboy. He wants to be able to get the Scatter of the Week. Unfortunately, does not connect. Irma gets his own solo kill this game.
And this is why it would be so instrumental for Uniboy to be able to dominate lane and set Irma behind. So then when he transitions into side lanes, he can't do this. And this also goes back to the fact that we talked about side lane domination is the name of the game for eStar. No member of LGD can walk up in a side lane without being punished. Think about it. It was only Irma that time, but ShiauC can follow up. Kaisa is a very good AD carry following up on side lanes. A Swirl Seed can come out from across the map. There's so many ways to play around and kill the opposing side on side lanes for eStar.
And look at this, tier 2 taken in the top lane. Looks like the tier 1 mid is going to be taken for eStar as well. They're getting this massive influx of gold, being able to run LGD rampant around the map where they can't really fight back. LGD are kind of caught right now in a really tough position to be able to try to get control for themselves.
And I gotta be honest, you know, I was talking to you before this game and I was like, hey, you know, me and you both predicted a 3-game series, but after game 1, I thought, no way. LGD, you know, they looked like the better team. Even when eStar had advantages, eStar themselves threw it away. I thought coming into this second game, it probably wouldn't be enough for eStar to win, but eStar are doing a really good job of, again, playing around their comp's win conditions. They're holding true to it. They're punishing LGD. And this is going to be a tough game for LGD to come back, especially looking at Uniboy. Like, Nocturne has a spell shield. Galio builds resistances, also provides that MR shield coming from his ultimate. You do get some health coming out from both ZS's and Hacker's build. There's not going to be any easy member that should be burstable for a Syndra that is falling behind.
No. And so LGD, instead of trying to really set up the position to be able to get Uniboy some more gold to be able to snowball, are just trying to get control around the Rift Herald. Though, giving this kill on Irma would be nice if they can actually lock it down for him. It's going to be Quay that is able to secure it with one slice.
The thing that's important to note is how LGD do this. Because LGD need to dedicate all their resources into one side of the map to do this. They cannot just leave Colt or Uniboy or Kramer by themselves in a side lane. So that's why you have 4 members there, you have Kramer by himself mid, and you're opening up the bottom side of the map, consciously giving that over to eStar.
And I wonder if that was actually solo gold for that top tier 1 gifted over to Uniboy. That would be a nice play to be able to get the Syndra in a better position to feel a lot stronger, because as you were saying, it's a Syndra that's behind. That doesn't feel good. And she's even rushed
Zhonya's
getting the Zhonya's just to stay even safer in this. It's one of those feels bad moments for Uniboy.
That's the thing is, Uniboy in teamfights is going to be a lot more about buying time and providing CC with the Scout of the Week than he is going to be about being a main damage dealer for LGD. All of LGD's eggs are in the Kramer basket now, which, let's be real, that's not a new position for LGD by any means,
no.
But I feel like it's going to be much tougher to play against eStar's comp like that. We're going to need to see some great Gnar ultimates coming out from Colt. We're going to need to see Quay hitting some 3 to 4 man fears. And for all of this, eStar need to be the ones to opt into a team fight, because eStar don't need to. They can just keep playing this 1-3-1 style, 1-1-3, no matter how they want to allocate their lanes. They have options, and they can just avoid LGD at all costs in the 5v5.
As right now, with this vision control they have topside, even bot side, they have lost a little bit of it now, but all they have to do is get everyone as they are, send them immediately down towards the bottom side of the map to try to see if they can set up that vision line once more and make sure that they always can keep LGD at bay.
Well, they're doing a great job of it. There is no neutral objective up on the map right now.
Irma paranoia. Who's he gonna try to see if he can tag? He's got the backup if he needs to, and ZS with this flank. Vanguard's edge on a chance. It's perfect to be able to pick up the kill for Rat with Quay not being able to escape. Even Uniboy gets tagged. They're trying to see if they can take down this Syndra once more and gift another kill. Make it, oh, good scatter of the week, but he's still gonna be able to get in range to be able to chase you down. Doesn't matter if you have an inhibitor turret to be able to fall back to. There it is. Goes Golden to survive. They waited it out, but there is once more a kill. 4th one of the game for ZS. Colt might be able to get a bit of retribution with the Gnar ult into the wall, but ZS is still alive. Might have enough to be able to heal back with that lifesteal, and having chance respawn from this entire fight to be able to try to fight back with the crash down Ferromancy, finally gifting the kill over to Colt.
The thing is, LGD are just showing they don't know how to play from behind. I don't know why any member was in that topside river. We need a defensive ward line down, which they do have. They do have a defensive ward line down throughout both quadrants of their jungle. You just need to catch waves of your tier 1s, try to pick up Raptors, Wolves, Gromp, you know, anything that you can, and just wait it out. Just wait out, let the silent pressure come. It doesn't matter if eStar got this dragon. It would mean nothing to you. You are fine just sitting back and letting Kramer get items. Getting this dragon doesn't put LGD in a better position by any means, in my opinion. It buys them more time, but it doesn't mean that they win any sort of immediate team fights. And if they keep overstepping like they just did, eStar are just going to keep pushing further and further ahead.
And that's why I was setting up the vision point. They've got so much vision to be able to know where LGD is that they knew that they could collapse even if it looked like Irma was caught out initially. They have everything they need to, though. This might be a bit risky. I'm wondering if they wanted to jump in. No, it doesn't seem they're going to let Hacker get away.
Look, if you're LGD's comp, you need to be a nice meatball, a nice Italian meatball. You need to be all grouped up together in a little ball, and no one goes out too far. Because if members are just stepping out by themselves, you cannot look for picks. You cannot look for picks against the comp that has all the globals and semi-globals. Kaisa can follow up, Galio can follow up. We see the TP flank coming in from ZS. We see the swirl seed coming out from Hacker to find the sleep. It's just LGD not playing to their win conditions correctly and them trying to abuse mistakes that they think eStar are making, but because of the compositions, they're not mistakes by eStar. They are able to do these things.
So eStar continue to dominate this map with nearly 4,000 gold over that of LGD. Even though they are seemingly playing back, trying to defend this tier 1 turret, it is all part of the plan. It's all going according to plan for eStar as they slowly keep pushing back, having their side lanes already set up. Unfortunately, ZS, it's going to be some time before you can add that TP flank once more, but really, you're just trying to keep the minions flowing into the base of LGD.
And I want to see if eStar start trying to bait anything around the Baron. Their comp does not have a great Baron. It's okay because you do have Lillia in there with Leandries, which I think makes it a bit better. But their turn is pretty good, but again, it's all about execution because you can't just have ZS running into a fight head first. He needs to be coming off from a side angle or wait for enough chaos created by Irma and ShiauC to find an avenue in. So again, it's more complex even for things like a Baron bait in a turn situation.
So that's what I was wondering. I'm like, do you even take the Baron as eStar, or do you just try to see if you can set up a trap? Pretty much bait in LGD at any moment, try to lure them with the honey, saying, oh, look, I'm but a poor little Irma. Oh, whatever will I do?
The thing for eStar is, I don't think Irma can dive either solo laner, so we're going to see situations like this, but you can dive the Irelia side of both matchups. So wherever ZS is, you could dedicate Hacker or ShiauC to leaning towards that side, get vision down, try to look for the dive, and try to open up the map that way, or get a numbers advantage to then turn to Baron.
Right now, still just waiting it out, trying to see if they can lure out LGD. Irma's still in this side lane, though, against Colt. Not really trying to see if they can get that advantage on ZS like you were asking for LGD. Trying to see if they can punish him, because ZS is playing it smart. He's pushed in as far as he feels comfortable. Noticed that they lost a little bit of control on that top half of the map and is saying, all right, see ya, suckers, I'm out of here.
And we just see him back and pick up a Randuin's Omen, which is really interesting to me because this is an item we see on Irelia, but the fact that he hasn't opted into something like Triforce, which I feel like would be good this game because of how heavily he snowballed. I think if you are more even or behind is when you can look for the Immortal Shield Bow, and if you are playing more of a team fight role, but opting out of both of those, going straight for the Randuin's Omen, again, decreasing his DPS a little bit, but going to be much harder for the side of LG to kill. And I also think this does signal a bit more of, hey, I will group up with my team a bit more. I will be able to jump in and follow up on the engage. I don't necessarily need to find a flank angle if Irma and ShiauC are the ones starting up the fight.
Especially now that TP's off cooldown for ZS, so if they have that vision line like they did before, where they're going to be able to have ZS flank easily onto Kramer, onto Uniboy, and make it so that those two carries aren't going to be able to do much, especially when you have a Syndra that has gone for Everfrost. Well, this is the normal build for most AP anybody in mid lane on 11.5. It's still not necessarily what you're used to when you see a Syndra, the burst potential. So if she gets caught out like it looks like they're going to be able to get for ZS now, it might not be so good. Irma hasn't even joined in. There it is, going to have the TP into the backline to be able to get the heroic entrance onto Chance. He flashed away, but they've lost Irma, the first to die, a bit too late. Huge amount of damage that they're able to blow up Hacker with a nice Gnar ult coming in from Colt, trying to see if they can escape. ZS has a huge shield to be able to fight back a little bit of time, but unfortunately, a 3v5 with how low they are, especially a fat scatter of the weak, trying to survive with the help of the Blade of the Ruin King, but Ignite might be able to pick up the kill. Just need one more stab at the lance, but not going to be able to get it for Chance. It's going to be the TP coming in, and it's going to be a trade of supports. Rat in the back line trying to get one more back, but now where do you gotta go? It's an easy cleanup coming in from the side of LGD, and that seemed like a disastrous fight for eStar.
Magical, magical, magical. I feel like we jinxed it. You know, just 5 minutes ago we were saying, hey, we were talking about this being, you know, a 2-0 after that first game, but it's not going to be a 2-0. But once again, eStar come in, the execution isn't there.
I'm going to defend one thing. Look at this. What is the problem that happened with this fight? You talked about ZS.
You know, Vanguard's Edge is really nice, but the Hecarim ulti is just so good. And then the follow-up from Nocturne is my real issue. To be fair, even with the Vanguard's Edge hitting multi-members, I still feel like as Irelia, you're not able to follow up that damage if you're the one going in first. It needs to be a coordinated strike of Nocturne and Galio. It needs to be. There's no other way this comp plays out. I don't think Irelia can be the one starting it up. And then they just keep following through. Rat does kind of save it in the end, as we see here. He does pick up 2 members. Really nice ult off to the side to get one, and is going to go down in the end. But yeah, I feel like when it comes to team fights, this comp can only do it one way. We can only see it one way. ZS can only start off a fight himself if he comes in on a flank and finds Uniboy exposed.
It was the mistake for eStar is pretty much going against what their composition is supposed to do. You had said, okay, they can't have ZS be the one to go in first, and you said that many, many times. Like, he needs to be flanking, he needs to be flanking. What does he do? He runs right at them, and it makes it so that they lose that fight. But still, they have the gold lead. With this Baron started up, unfortunately, as you had mentioned before, not really the greatest clear on that, so LGD are immediately able to close that shut and say, you're not allowed in this room, sorry.
Again, the saddest part of that fight is that the Vanguard's edge did hit numerous people, right? You can look at that face and be like, yeah, it's pretty good ultimate, but not able to follow up on it. Baron bait comes out. We see LGD punish that by taking a mid turret. Now LGD are on soul point. LGD are only 3k gold behind. Kramer is on his 3 core items. You already highlighted how Everfrost is pretty much built on every, or at least most, mid lane mages now, which, if you guys are wondering, if you haven't been watching like LEC, LCS, or LCK, which have been on 11.4, it pretty much just got buffed across the board. Base damage, the scaling damage on Glaciate. The build path is much nicer now. Just like, you name it, they buffed it. And with that item, Uniboy now, even if it doesn't necessarily have the burst, still is providing a lot of utility for the team.
Exactly, and it sets up Kramer's to be able to clean up these fights beautifully. Sure, Uniboy did more damage in that fight than I did expect. I was expecting, a decent amount of damage, but it just shows you how strong Everfrost is, where you can have Everfrost Zonias and be able to do a lot of damage regardless.
It's so interesting to see ZS going this, like, kind of full team fight build now that he's also spinning on the Spectre's cowl. I'll be honest, I don't think it's optimal. I think he should have indexed into the pure side lane domination. We did highlight in draft that is much harder this meta, like, last year, this season as well. We don't really see teams pull it off well. But those were opportunities where we talked about, eStar trying to dive around the Irelia lane. He was strong enough to do that. Or even if it does take higher execution, trying to bait out that Baron with Irelia coming on a flank, with Irma being able to jump in, just looking for that turn at the correct timing, because they're quickly getting outpaced by LGD's composition and their patience.
It seems that eStar sadly fell for a similar trap they did last time, where they didn't pull the trigger fast enough with what they needed to in their composition. They had one good flank from ZS with that one TP that caught out Quay, caught out Chance, and then they turned onto Uniboy. But since then, they haven't been able to replicate it. They've struggled to be able to get that place on the map once more, where it was Irma who had the TP play that they attempted to make, instead of using ZS as that tool to be able to get into the backline. And now they're trying to set up this Baron bait. They're trying to see if they can catch LGD playing up into them, but it really is going to be about them executing.
I think they need to do this as well, because Gnar is getting too tanky. I don't think ZS can dive him anymore. I like that they're looking for this, but can LGD find it?
It's going to be the Paranoia. First down. They got the Lilting Lullaby, but it was on to Chance, seeing if they can get in the back line. Chance, huge Magnetic Storm. The Vanguard's Edge trying to disengage with the Heroic Entrance. They're going to be able to get the support, but they lost that as having ShiauC barely being able to survive. But Colt, he's about to go Mega. He wants to be able to see if he can knock them all into the wall. He's got to be careful. They've got the pick on a rat that they need to. That's eStar trying to escape with the Baron buff, trying to keep as many members with the buff as possible. 3 members will retain it, so it's going to help them at least pushing back into LGD.
I think both teams made the right call. For eStar, again, you kind of sat on your advantage for too long, not looking for the plays you needed to look for. At this point, it's all about the Baron. They could have looked for the turn, but I really like the use of the Paranoia coming out from Irma. They make it a bit hard for LGD to just funnel in there, not knowing, what members of eStar are where. They get the Baron. Now it's all about this Dragon. Quay's not here, though. Hacker is.
But Irma is. Look at Irma. He's caught out Kramer. Kramer was trying to go in there by himself. Gale forced away, but the damage on the Hacker, he's the one trying to carry. He got the flash out of Irma just with having 2 members of LGD showing up.
And the thing is, you're missing 2 members for the side of eStar here. Chance just arriving, Hecarim about to arrive as well. Oh, God.
Oh, no. Hacker getting picked like that. That means it's going to be the Infernal Soul for LGD. You lose the jungler, you know what that means.
And that's what Uniboy's role is in this team comp at this point, right? Hit the scout of the week. That's all you need to do. He does it. LGD trying to find more opportunities to engage, but they don't. They're going to back off. They have Soul, though. They force any fight. They win any fight. eStar, I think, have lost the ability to pressure side lanes. They should have the ability to kill Uniboy, but hey, as long as you're putting Chance in a side lane, look at his build. Has the Thornmail, has the Randuin's Omen. I don't think you're at a point anymore where ZS can look for that 1v1. Colt will always be able to get away.
It's not like it was once before in the long ago's at the beginning of this game when you solo killed him twice. As you take a look at this replay, I've got to give credit to Chance with this coordination for LGD.
It was a beautiful Magnet Storm going in, locking down 4 members. Sure, eStar are able to fight back to get a 1-4, but he traded top for support. LGD massively winning out in that trade. Rat with a really nice burst, though. But still, LGD just have more damage available at this point in time. Kramer walking forward. I think Colt had a really good team fight, and that's what we've been looking for with Colt is like, hey, even in game 1 where they won and he had pressure the whole time, I didn't feel like Colt really had a big impact. He didn't find a lot of really good Gnar ultimates. It's nice to see him in this game finding a team fight where he is having some impact.
Being able to have that communication with the team, to find the right targets, and even though it was only a one-man ult, it was on to Rat. You pick off the important targets. That's really the importance of being able to dive into the backline. You don't have to have those 5-man magnetic storms like you saw Chance have. As long as you're able to get the important people, that's all that really matters.
Especially when you look at he's the highest kill participation on the team. He's been involved in every kill except one. So doing a really good job with, you know, again, his role. We're going to start seeing LGD trying to control vision, I think, around the bottom quadrant of the jungle now that they're sending Colt there to push that out. They should look to start putting some pressure down onto that inner turret topside. And it's going to be tough now because eStar don't really need to leave their base. There's no reason they should come out. But if LGD can pull them out, that's what they need. They want that 5v5.
Oh, how the roles have reversed in this game for eStar. They were the ones
series.
who pushed it. LG, oh yeah, this whole series had game 1, here game 2. LGD pushed back to their base and they were able to fight back perfectly, be able to control the pace when it comes to the late game, when it comes to how they want to team fight. And ZS takes a huge brunt of damage purely for trying to clear out the minion waves.
But he did. I don't know what he's going to be able to do at this point. Even finding backline access, like Kramer has his ultimate, Kramer has flash, Uniboy first spot is on his hourglass. The other 3 members are tanky. I feel like Irelia has no role in any skirmishes or team fights anymore. She doesn't really have a role in side lanes, and it's going to be tough. Also, Irma hasn't had the same impact on this Nocturne that someone like Duinby had in their last series.
And with the Galio too. It's not even just having the Nocturne, it's the combination. It just feels like that combo that we were ready for. We were ready to see these huge Nocturne ults into the backline with ShiauC following up and LGD constantly having to either flash or scatter the moment they landed. It just hasn't had that impact we've been wanting.
No, and we've even seen it like disjointed and not coordinated well at times, right? When we saw Irma get picked off in the mid lane when eStar did engage a fight they shouldn't have, Irma goes in, gets bursted out by the time ShiauC even lands. So not even the level of communication and coordination we need to see. At this point for eStar, you are hoping and praying that LGD make a mistake, they make an overstep. You do have the composition to where, again, if you want, you can hover around your Irelia side, send like 3 members there, Irma, ZS, and ShiauC, and try to pick someone off. The problem is LGD's comp now is strong enough to where they will take more on the opposite side of the map than you could take around ZS.
Hey, and you know what? There is still a silver lining for eStar. They still have the gold lead. So you gotta be careful when going into this. Okay, never mind. They lost Rat. So scratch what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think that gold lead matters too much, especially when LGD's comp outscales in team fights. They have Soul, but
I was trying to be nice.
The bad omen, Magical. You're a bad omen. You're caster cursing them. You're just coming into the LPL and you're already doing this to these teams. I don't think they appreciate it.
You know, I'm trying to be a nice person. I guess I'm just a curse. So you don't want me rooting for you, but right now looks like LGD, they're going to be trying to root for themselves to try to get that miracle run as they crack open the first inhibitor of the game, taking it down in mid lane.
You know, the weird thing is if you looked at the minimap during that time, ZS was coming around from the back. But if ZS flanks, I honestly think LGD can turn him and burst him in an instant.
Right.
You have so many ways of CCing him down between Uniboy, Quay, Chance. Even Kramer and Colt have CC, right? Even if it is more skill dependent. And he just doesn't have the items. Even if he has built more resistances, Spirit Visage and Randuin's Omen coming out, it just doesn't matter.
Still no Mythic, too. I mean, I know this is a build type that has... it only really works on someone like Irelia, but it's one of those things you are still missing out on that Mythic passive to be able to help you in these late game fights. And you mentioned the late game scaling is on LGD's side. This kind of build is trying to get it so that you're going to have a little bit more damage earlier on for going the late game, but we're 36 minutes into the game. This is definitely the late game.
That's the thing is, right, he went for early damage, went for earlier power spikes, went with the fact that, again, he went for a more teamfight build, and you can hear it in my voice, and even Hurt's kind of saying it. Yeah. I think he should have indexed solely into his own advantage. We're going to see LGD posture for an engage.
Ooh, they look like they had Kramer, but do you really have Kramer when he's playing Xayah? Look at the damage on a rat with a huge feather call to be able to get them back. Even though ZS tries to go golden to the backline to be able to survive, it's a double kill coming in for the side of Kramer. Everyone else on LGD have already gotten the fight they need to. Good block of the Justice Punch to give a triple kill to Kramer, and that is going to be game. That is going to be series for LGD.
And the advantage was just too big. The comp out scales, they have Infernal Soul. eStar wasted their advantage and let LGD come out on top.
Well done by LGD, though, to be able to capitalize on those mistakes, to wait it out, putting all of their resources, putting all their hope onto Kramer, and it came to success. They've fallen back onto that strategy so many times, and here in Game 2, it helped them win.